and that's the one theory where it started. You got another Jimbo, meaning a boy. And so all my family, when I get mail, and for Jim Mickey, I know it's a family member. And when I went to high school, I went by Warren. When I went to college, I didn't even answer the roll because I never went by George, but they'd call George Mickey because that was my first name. Yeah. And I still get mail from George Mickey, Warren Mickey, G. Warren Mickey, but I signed all my checks G. Warren Mickey.
G. Warren Mickey.
That avoids the conflict. But anyhow.
What college did you go to? What college did you go to?
Well, I did my undergraduate work at Shepherd College, and I did my graduate work at Western University, and I got 2 degrees from Western University. Got a degree in history, and a master's in school administration. I could be a superintendent, a VOAG supervisor. Well, every office in education I could serve. And
so is that what you wanted to be when you were growing up? You wanted to be a teacher or super?
I was in the teacher training program at Shepherd, and I played music to work my way through college. My mother and dad paid for my first semester. I won a scholarship playing music. I had a little band, and Theta fraternity had a talent contest, and my band director said, "Why don't you take your little band over there and enter that thing? And you're a senior, and they're all sophomores and juniors. There were 4 of us. Rock and roll, you know, that was big in that time. Shake, rattle, and roll, and all that.
About what year was that?
Oh, that would have been in '56 or '57, I think.
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, and anyhow, I've had a lot of unexplainable things happen in my life that I attribute to a higher authority.
Higher authority.
Yeah, I'll cover that if you want me to. But anyhow, I took the little band over. My band director said, "Go over there, and the first prize is a semester scholarship to Shepherd College." And I wasn't going to go to college because I wanted to get out and make some money and buy a car, and you know, like every kid wants to do. And anyhow, we went over there and we played. I did a drum solo, and we played rock and roll. And of course, college kids love to rock and roll, you know. But the band's probably not why I won.
Right.
Why I probably won, and this is oral history. I met a little cheerleader from Martinsburg High School. You're recording this. I won't give you her name, but I can remember her name. But anyhow, we hit it off real good. She was a really pretty little thing, had a real pretty ponytail, and we got behind the curtain there in the back of the stage, got involved in a lip lock, and we were hugging and kissing back there, and the Shepherd boys were working the curtain to open and shut for acts. Well, they saw me back there, and they opened the curtain real quick, and the audience all cheered, and the boys was having a good time back there. And I told them that's probably why we won.
That's why you won.
I was being bad, but anyhow, it's.
So why did you start music? What was the thing that?
Well, when I moved from Chambersburg to West Virginia, it was a culture shock for me, because schools were fully integrated in Pennsylvania, in Franklin County. When I moved to West Virginia, and first day I went to school, and 2 things happened to me that day. They ushered us all the students into the auditorium, and the curtain was closed, and all of a sudden the band, the drum section of the band started playing their marching cadence. And boy, I always did. Well, my mother made me take piano lessons when I was in 6th grade, and I hated it with a passion. I got as far along as 3 bugs in a rug, so that tells you how far I got in playing piano. But I really hated it. But my mother really wanted me to do that, but when I heard that percussion, I was hooked right then. I said, I want to play the drums. And so I joined the band, signed up for band the first 7th grade and went through the beginner band. And I was in high school band all the way through high school. And at any rate, we had that was a wonderful experience. But the music thing was always big with me. I enjoyed being in the band, and I was an officer in the band. I was band captain, and my wife was the head majorette, the one that led the band down the street, and she was good at it. And we both went to the same church. Our mothers were best friends, and because we all went to the same church, and we were in the youth fellowship together. My wife and I, and
what's her name?
We never dated, and we were always in competition with each other. And girls date older boys, and boys date younger girls because they're insecure, So anyhow, that's what I did, and that's what she did. And I never dated her in high school, but we were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the same church, and we did all that, and in the band together. And she played a big tenor sax. And anyhow, I ended up teaching at Charlestown Junior High School my first year. And that's another story, but that's the one that I had an intervention on. Something happened that day. But I started teaching, and she was in room 3, and I was in room 6 at Charlestown Junior High School, which is now Wright Denny. Mm-hmm. And I got to looking up. You had to go out and monitor the hall when there was a change of classes, So I got to looking up the hall, and I thought, man, Ree was kind of good looking up there. So I took her on a date and asked her for. I took her to the Brunswick Moose with me one night. I said, "You want to go to the Moose with me? Look, I got to play from 9 to 12, but I'll have you home by 1 or 2, something like that, probably 1, and unless we stop and get something to eat." And she said, "Yeah, I'd like to do that." So, but her mother had me picked out anyhow. So she had been engaged to another guy, and he didn't hit it off with her mother at all. He came in the house one day and said, "Who does the dusting around here?" And Mary told him, Reva, that night when he came back that night, said, "You just don't have him back here anymore." So that broke that off. Because she was an immaculate housekeeper. Mm. She was a wonderful woman. And I never could tell mother-in-law jokes because she was like a second mother to me after my mother passed away. She was like a mother to me, and we were living. The first 3 years we were married, we lived at the farm. Reva and I lived with her mother and dad to save money. We were both teaching and saving our money to buy a home. And everybody likes to buy stuff on credit now. They don't save their money until they can buy something. They go borrow money and pay outrageous interest rates and wonder why they're poor. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I'm old and crotchety, so I do that. But.
So you said when you left Chambersburg, your school was integrated in Maryland.
Oh, no, it was integrated in Pennsylvania.
Or in Pennsylvania, I'm sorry.
In Pennsylvania, yeah, I never finished. I have a tendency to ramble.
That's all right.
I've had a wonderful life.
It sounds
I'll tell you, I've done so many different things, and you bring up a topic, I can talk about it. Playing music, you had to learn to get along with everybody. Mm-hmm. People that were stone drunk, people that were loud, people that were quiet, people that were dangerous, and people that were not dangerous. And you had to as a musician, you had to get along with everybody. Because I had the most to load up every time I had to play someplace.
You got your kit.
Yeah, it took me 4 trips to get it all loaded up. Anyhow, but when I moved to West Virginia, that's the story I started to tell you. The Pennsylvania schools were fully integrated, and one of my best friends, he was the only guy in my class that could run faster than I could. He was a black gentleman named Joe. I don't remember his last name now, but it was Joe. And we went to homeroom in Miss Hill's homeroom class, first day of school, and I looked around the room and I asked the little gentleman sitting next to me, I said, "Where are all the colored kids?" He said, "Man, we don't go to school with it," and he used the N-word. that was a real awakening to me. I thought, well, I better just shut the hell up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the teacher called my name to ask if I was there, and I stood up. Because in Pennsylvania schools, when the teacher called your name, you stood up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stood up, all the kids laughed, and she said, "You don't have to stand up when I call your name." So that was different. And also, if you didn't say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, or yes, sir, or no, sir, you got in trouble down here.
Mm-hmm.
In Pennsylvania school, you didn't do sir and ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's only 60 miles apart now in history.
Right.
But there's a lot of good reason for that. Because the Confederates burnt Chambersburg, you know, because they didn't pay it. But in Pennsylvania schools, I learned that those damn nasty rebels burnt down Chambersburg because we wouldn't give them the gold. They asked for a certain amount of gold for reparation, and
now here
that's
you're
what I
living in
learned.
there.
That's what I learned in Pennsylvania schools when I had history in the 6th grade. When I got to West Virginia, I found out why they did it. Yeah, but they didn't teach that in Pennsylvania. Because, you know, whoever writes the history, you know. At any rate, I found out it was because they'd burned 3 homes. They just got the people out and couldn't even get any clothing out, valuable things, photographs, or anything. They just burnt the houses down because their husbands were Confederate generals over at Shepherdstown.
Yeah.
And so to get the money to rebuild their homes, they went to Chambersburg to get reparations for that. But anyhow, that was that story. But it was a real radical change for me moving into West Virginia. But now I demanded of my grandsons. One of them's pretty bad at it, and one of them's real good at it. And but they're both real bad at work ethic. So I hope I live through that. So
when you became a teacher, you came in at 7th grade, right? And there was still integrated. So it didn't integrate while you were a student, right?
Oh, no, no. I was at the county office when we integrated.
Okay.
Yeah, I taught for 4 years, and then I was promoted to the county office as director of federal programs. And then they changed my name to director of special programs because I was doing everything at the county office that wasn't involved with the regular school program. I did Title I, Title II, migrant education, the migrant program, and then I did summer school. And I was so busy, I never got my 2-week vacation. But I enjoyed the job, and I did a good job of it, and had to hire the teachers and the aides and the bus drivers because it was separate. Then I kept my own set of books for the federal funds, and Ted Lowry was the superintendent for 17 years, and man, he was responsible for me where I am now. He was really good to me, and he was a nice man, and he taught me a lot. And he was a fiscal conservative. And he was a Southerner from Southern Virginia. But while I was at the county office, we went through integration, and it was very good. We didn't have any repercussions.
Really?
There were people that weren't happy. The black community were proud of their schools, and they wanted to integrate, but yet they didn't want to integrate.